Oh, there they are, the troublemakers.
All right. Well, good morning. It's so good to see you two.
Good
Um,
morning.
yeah. So, can you just tell us a little bit about Rose Hawthorne, what her life was like before she entered religious life? I understand that she was married, she had a young son who passed away, so she was very familiar with grief.
Okay. We're fighting over who's going to answer this question. Yeah, so mother was the youngest of three children of Nathaniel and Sophia Hawthorne, who were not Catholic to begin with. They lived for a short time, well, about 7 years total in Europe. And it was during that time that they kind of began to get a taste of what it meant to be Catholic. They came back to the States. That's when Nathaniel, during that time, Nathaniel died. And then they moved back to Dresden, Germany. And then it was during that time that Rose met George. I can't believe I forgot it, George Lathrop. And eventually they were married. And unfortunately, the marriage was not well supported by the family members, but they were obviously in love, and they together came back to the States. They were um, they lived in the Wayside when they came back, which was the original home that Mother Alphonsa grew up in. And then there they had a 4-year-old son. They had a son who died of diphtheria, I believe, when he was 4 years old. There was also some trouble in the marriage, but they overcame that trouble off and on and eventually were received into the Catholic faith together. And they did actually some talks together, separately and together for the Catholic faith. George even wrote a kind of a thesis defending their entrance into the faith in a New York newspaper. I don't remember the name of the paper.
It was their conversion was big news. It was in all the papers because the daughter of Nathaniel Hawthorne became a Catholic.
Yes.
And even in the secular papers, it was so George did have to write a defense of their move into the faith.
Yes.
People were curious.
Yeah. But even despite that, overcoming the death of their son, Francie, and their coming into the Catholic faith, there was just some inner turmoil in that marriage, and it got to the point where Rose petitioned the bishop to be separated from her husband. And during that time is when she began to have this desire to serve the cancer's poor, because at that time cancer was thought to be contagious. People didn't realize that that was not the case. And so there was kind of this double standard of people who were wealthy and had cancer and people who were not. Those who were wealthy could receive the treatment that they needed. Those who were not were sent to Blackwell's Island, basically to spend the rest of their days. And it was hearing the story of the seamstress who was sent to Blackwell's Island to die, who was poor, that really kind of started a fire in her heart to go to the inner cities and the poorest parts of the city to serve those in need. Um, and it was about 3 years while while she was doing that before the community was actually officially began with her kind of co-servant. They called themselves the Servants of Relief with Alice Huber when the work officially began. But before that happened, George did eventually die, and Mother, at the time still Rose Hawthorne, tried to go to him but wasn't able to make it at before his death. But continued to pray for him there and even after his death. But that was kind of the gave her the freedom to really pursue this way of life of serving the cancerous poor. And eventually, with Alice Huber, under the by the help of Father Tinty, who was a Dominican friar, and with the approval of the bishop, eventually began the work for them known as the Servants of Relief for Incurable Cancer, or more modernly known as the Hawthorne Dominicans.
Well, I promise that is the last test question we will give you. So how many skilled facilities do the Dominican Sisters of Hawthorne currently run?
Currently, we have two. We have the one here in Hawthorne, New York, which is about 45 minutes north of New York City, and we have one in Atlanta.
And how do people qualify for care?
Well, it's pretty simple in a sense. The patients must have a diagnosis of terminal cancer. They must have finished all their treatments, and they must be in a position that they're not able to care for the treatment that they need, not able to pay for the treatment that they need, the care that they need elsewhere.
I have to tell you, it must be inspiring to see these patients and how they're living out their lives in such a way, because I'm sure there are stories you both have that are beautiful.
Yes, I think we get more from the patients often than we give them. It's just them and their families can be heroic. Yes.
Is
I
there a
wanted to
particular?
mention.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse
Go ahead.
me?
I was going to ask if
I
there was a
just wanted-
particular memory.
But I did just want to mention that as Rose began to care for the poor, she decided that she would never accept any payment from them, because if they had money to pay, then they wouldn't be in the condition they were in. And so we have, she would take nothing from the government. So we have continued that up until this day. So the care is offered free to those who need it. And we're not involved in any government funding either.
Which is absolutely amazing. And to go back to Mother Mary Alphonsa, she was declared a venerable earlier this year. So where does that leave her on the path to sainthood?
Closer, we hope.
So, yeah, so right now the dicastery, or the cause of the saints, that's a very long name. They now are reviewing potential miracles. So in order to be considered a blessed, a person has to have one approved miracle attributed to them. And then in order to be considered a saint, they have to have 2 miracles. So now that she has been declared venerable servant of God, now they're able to review possible miracles that could promote her to blessed, venerable servant of God, Mother Mary Alphonsa.
Well, we really appreciate both of you being with us today. Where can people find out more about Mother and also about your work?
Well, we do have a website. It's
I think we had it up on the screen.
Hawthorne, Hawthorne, Dominicans.org. And if you go on that website, you can find out about our life, and then there's also a section there about Mother's life, and people can access that. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you again. Thank you not only for being on the show, but for the great work you guys do, but that both of you do. We very much appreciate it. Hey, remember everyone who watches Catholic TV in your prayers, okay?
Thank you, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you.